The story begins with our hero getting a lot of praises from some women on how ambitious he is. It turns out that the women praising him are all curvy moms whose kids should make for good friends of his. Our hero's name is revealed to be Ceres, and the moms praise him for being a serious and mature boy. As it turns out, Ceres has a fantasy for curvy moms, and this is like a dream come true for him. There are 4 moms, each as cute and curvy as the next, so it looks like Ceres does not need to worry about anything else in his life. He says that he would get married to all 4 of them if he had the chance. But then we shift to the side of a house where Ceres has just woken up from his fantasy dream. He laments the fact that he can only be with the curvy moms in his sleep. But then we also learn that the scene we just saw was a memory from the past when Ceres was just a little kid. It has been 10 years since he had this memory, so he wonders why he is dreaming about such things right now. Now, we learn that Ceres is 1 out of 5 members in a hero party known as Light of Hope. Apparently, all the kids from this party are friends, and they have taken an oath to defeat the demon lord of this world. Ceres is a mage fighter, and he also happens to be a fighting member of the party, and it has been smooth sailing for the team so far. However, due to their busy schedules, they have not been able to go back to their village recently. Ceres simply hopes that everyone is doing well, and then he realizes that he is late for the hero meeting. He fears that the leader of his group Isekai'd will get angry and scold him, so he rushes down the stairs instantly. He reaches his team and sees Isekai'd with 3 cute girls. They are the remainder of the team, but none of them seem to be happy to see Ceres. Suddenly, Isekai'd says sorry, but mentions to Ceres that he has been kicked out of the party. The girls look at him with neutral faces, but the strangest thing is that Ceres himself does not seem to be too shocked by this decision. He simply takes the news as it is and comments that such a thing was bound to happen. Our hero explains to us that his party did have a big problem, and it is to do with Isekai'd himself. Of course, Isekai'd is shown to be an amazing fighter, and he is actually the lead hero of the new world. He has great leadership skills, which allow him to do whatever he wants. And he's handsome also to boot. Having said that, he does seem to have character flaw that makes him a huge jerk, and it's his desire for women. Isekai'd is a massive womanizer, and this has led to certain problems in his friendship with Ceres. The shady man tends to put love first, and he has always put Ceres on the sidelines so that he can spend more time with the girls of their party. Now, Isekai'd tells Ceres that he should know why he is not being allowed to continue in his party any longer. Basically, the womanizer tells Ceres that if he is to make it big as a hero, then he will need achievements that will justify his standing. With that being said, he does not look at Ceres as someone who will help him with that. Rather, he sees our hero as a burden who is simply holding him back from achieving his true goals. Despite insulting Ceres so much, Isekai'd tells him that he hopes for them to continue being friends. Of course, our hero does not feel the same way, but one of the girls says that she agrees with what Isekai'd is saying. She also states that if Ceres were to continue with the party, then he would only end up getting injured in the future, and it could also cause him to lose his life. This is when Ceres actually shows a sign of shock, because this girl is Mel, with whom he actually shared a genuine friendship. He can't believe that Mel does not have his back here, but then he notices that she is wearing a rather expensive necklace, which has obviously been gifted to her by Isekai'd. This makes a lot more sense now, but Ceres is still dejected because he was always there for Mel whenever she needed him. Despite this, she has chosen the playboy womanizer over Ceres, and there is nothing he can do to change that opinion. Now that he has gained the psychological advantage, Isekai'd tells our hero that he should just head back to the village and become a countryside adventurer over there. He rubs further salt on his wound by saying he can join a weaker party to feel more important. Isekai'd makes sure that all the girls are surrounding him as he says this. But Ceres doesn't understand why the playboy womanizer always has to make it seem like he is superior to him. It can't be helped though, because Isekai'd had tried his best to cuck Ceres with Mel when he thought they were dating. However, Mel never had any feelings for our hero, so he does not really mind whatever Zek chooses to do with the girls. He figures that he might as well get out of here, because there is no point in trying to create a fuss over this. He is aware that Zek's party is genuinely strong with his rank fighters, so he will simply get in their way if he chooses to stay. Having said that, he knows he can always join other S-class parties. As a matter of fact, he will have plenty of parties to join, even if he drops down to a class. Despite all the shamelessness on display from Zek and the girls, Ceres still maintains that he really meant it when he called himself their friend. He would have just preferred it if Mel and the others were more honest with him. But such is life. With that, Mel tells Ceres that is goodbye from her side. And he also says that he hopes everything turns out well for her and Zek. The womanizer playboy is a bit surprised to see how easily Ceres is ready to leave. So he asks for confirmation, and our hero walks away, bidding everyone farewell. As he walks away from his so-called friends, Ceres tells us that they were all very important to him, but not from a sense of love. To put it simply, he felt for them the same way a father would feel for his kids. This is when Ceres reveals that he does have a secret which he has not revealed to anyone yet. The secret is that he is a transmigrator, and he has been reincarnated in another world. What's more is that he was a father aged 42 years old in his previous life. Ceres was a high-ranking worker at a trading company, and he also was a loving father and husband. It is for this very reason why he feels that every person of his age in this world pretty much feels like a child to him. Basically, he is a gerontophile in this world, and the main cause of that is the maximum lifespan of a person is only 50 years. They also seem to follow a lot of the same customs that Ceres had studied about in his original world with regards to old Japan. Women are considered to be old by the time they turn 17, and after they cross the age of 25. They aren't even treated as women anymore, but as grandmoms. Basically, Ceres thinks that every person in this world is a PDF file downloader, and that does not sit right with him. It is such a waste to go after such young girls when you have curvy moms with experience just waiting there for you. Now, Ceres explains to us that he passed away at the age of 42 in his original world, and he is currently at the age of 14 in this world. So for him to find a woman attractive, she would need to be at least between 22 to 25 years of age. Otherwise, he would only look at a girl as if she is his daughter. And that is just how he's built. Now, before heading back to his village, Ceres feels that he should make a stop by a certain place. Since he has been in the hero party for so long, he has never had the chance to visit such a place, and it happens to be a slave house. Our hero is greeted by the slave house's main sales butler. He manages to identify Ceres as the adventurer in the hero party, so he asks him what he's doing in a place like this. Ceres has no problems in saying that he got kicked out, and is nothing more than a simple adventurer now. The butler apologizes for his question, and then asks our hero what he would like. Ceres says that he is looking for a slave girl, so the butler says he can choose from their huge selection. This slave house has everyone right from elf girls to even former nobles, so Ceres will be spoiled for choice. However, this would only work if Ceres was into the younger girls, so he asks the butler to show him some of the cheaper slaves who can be used for household work. The butler realizes that Ceres has not come here to act on his intrusive thoughts, so he leads our hero to another separate section. It is behind a range of curtains, and the butler explains that it is this way because these slaves are of no value, so it is better to keep them hidden from the public eye. What Ceres sees in front of him is rather shameful, because the older slave girls are kept as if they are wild animals inside a cage. These cages don't even seem to have any beds for the slaves to sleep comfortably. But then Ceres notices something that completely shocks him. It is one of the curvy moms he had a crush on back when he was a kid, and her name is revealed to be Shizuko. Ceres calls out to her, and she is also shocked to see him over here. But the main question is why she has found herself in a slave house. Ceres tells us that not only is Shizuko his first ever love right from when he was brought into this world, But she also happens to be Zek's mom. Our hero immediately asks to buy the slave mom, and he is surprised to hear that she only costs 5 silver coins with 3 additional coins needed for the slave mark. Ceres asks the butler why Shizuko is so cheap, and he explains that she is an elderly woman who has multiple children. Keeping that in mind, the price he has asked for is quite fair for Shizuko. The truth of the matter is that Shizuko is only 30 years old, but that is the age where women are considered to be grandmoms in this world. Now, our hero says that he will pay for everything with a gold coin, but he also wants Shizuko to be given a proper shower and some fresh clothes. The butler says that he only has clothes suited to younger women, but Ceres does not have any problem with that. With the payment done, the butler makes the slave mark on Shizuko and completes the slave agreement. On top of that, she is also given a rather cute and tempting maid outfit, but she feels very shy while wearing it, especially because it seems to have awakened Ceres' intrusive thoughts. She asks our hero not to stare at her with shady eyes, so he apologizes and says that he will get her some new clothes once they get out of here. She is happy to hear that because even though Ceres had to buy someone as old as her, the maid outfit is a bit too short and tight for her liking. The butler now hands over the slave documents to Ceres, and he tells him that the slave mark will still help people understand who Shizuko's real owner is even if he were to lose these papers. After the transaction gets formally completed, Ceres decides to get out of the slave house as soon as possible. The first thing he does is take Shizuko to a clothing shop where she changes into a new outfit. This is more suited to her liking, so she asks Ceres how he likes her attire. Our hero is glad to see a curvy mom in a cute dress, so he tells her she looks great. Now, Ceres and Shizuko sit down near a fountain, and our hero offers a snack to his new slave mom. However, the first thing she does is bow down to him in excessive fashion. He asks her what is the meaning of this, so she thanks him for buying such a worn-out slave like her. She promises to devote her mind, body, and soul to him from now on, but our hero tells her that she does not need to do such things. After all, he did look up to her all those years ago, but she says that she is his slave mom, so it's only natural for her to bow down to him. However, this also causes Shizuko to become emotional, and she breaks down into tears over her current situation. Ceres realizes that life might not have been kind to Shizuko, so he asks her to cry her heart out. Once she is done, he wants to know how she ended up in a slave house in the first place. As he watches his slave mom calm herself down, Ceres remembers how he would console Mel back when they were in the same party. He used to feel like her father back then, but he has no such feeling right now with Shizuko. In his eyes, she looks like an adult Japanese beauty, so for him, it's a bonus since he is also from Japan. After she is done crying, Shizuko finally reveals that she was sold off by her very own husband, which comes across as quite a shocker for our hero. Her husband's name happens to be Zektor, so Ceres asks her how he came to do such a thing. Our hero explains that when Zekt became a hero, he was given a lot of money from the state, so by that logic, Zektor would have no reason to sell Shizuko. She agrees with this logic, but it turns out that the moment the greedy husband got his hands on this cash, he ended up spending it on women, gambling, and alcohol. At this rate, it was only a matter of time before he spent all of these earnings. Now, Shizuko did not seem to have a problem with her husband spending money on women of the night, but her main issue was with the fact that Zektor was wasting all the cash. She told him that they would go broke if he continued this way, and he even apologized for his spending habits. Zektor then told Shizuko that they'll go out and have some fun in the city one last time, after which he would stop blowing all his wealth. It seemed good enough to her, so she tagged along with her husband. But as was expected, this turned out to be a trap, and Zektor shamelessly sold his own wife to the slave house. It's actually a horrible story to hear for Ceres, because he loves Shizuko with all his heart. He asks her why she didn't write a letter to Zekt in order to get saved by him, but she says that her son would never help her out of any situation. Isekai'd may love his dad, but he inexplicably hates Shizuko, which is yet another red flag. Ceres now remembers that Isekai'd never really liked how serious his mom would be with him. Come to think of it, Ceres even considered Isekai'd to be a serious man. But money can change people to all kinds of degrees. As Shizuko once again reflects on how useless her husband is, Ceres thinks back to the time he had confessed his love for her to Isekai'd. He even told him that he wished to marry his auntie Shizuko, but Isekai'd was only interested in his beer. He then told Ceres that by the time he would turn 15, Shizuko would be nothing more than an old hag. He then shamelessly said that if our hero still wanted her, then he could have her for a single gold coin. Isekai'd did have a point, no matter how rude he may have sounded, because women above the age of 20 are genuinely considered to be useless in this world. Of course, couples would still stay together because of all the time they've spent with each other till that point. Now, Ceres asks Shizuko if she is mad at Isekai'd, and she says that she is blinded with rage. However, there is nothing she can do about it at this point, even though she turns demon mode and says that Isekai'd is going to rot in hell for what he did to her. Shizuko has a rather scary look on her face as she says this, and it even spooks out Ceres. Our hero apologizes to Shizuko for remembering all these painful thoughts, but she says that it's no problem at all. As a matter of fact, she felt really happy when Ceres came to her rescue and bought her from the slave house. Shizuko blushes as she says this, so Ceres comments that she is a very beautiful woman. He proceeds to tell his slave mom that she is not old, and she should stop thinking like that. Shizuko states that Ceres is the only person in this world who would say such a thing. Of course, this makes sense because there is a man who's 42 years old trapped in our hero's body, which technically makes him 12 years older than Shizuko. However, there is another reason as well for his continued support towards the slave mom. Back when his parents from this world had passed away, Shizuko was the one who encouraged Ceres to live a fulfilling life. Part of the reason why Ceres wanted to help Isekai'd and his other friends was because of how nice everyone at the village was towards him. However, even among them, Shizuko was a special one to our hero. She was so kind to Ceres that she was pretty much like his stepmother during his early childhood years. Now, Ceres tells Shizuko that she truly is a wonderful woman, because he has just remembered all the nice things she had done for him when he grew up. His words make her blush again, so she asks what he would like her to do for him. She starts by asking if he would like a tasty meal, which is true for Ceres, but it's not the kind of meal that families like to eat with each other. He laments that Shizuko still looks at him as a child, but he can't really help that. Shizuko realizes that she is actually Ceres' slave mom now, so she will need to listen to whatever orders he gives her. With that, she asks once again what he would like her to do. And that's when our hero decides to take a leap of faith and risk it all. He says that if it were up to him, then he would like for Shizuko to become his lover. Of course, this is a total shocker for the slave mom, and she takes a few seconds to register what has just been said to her. At first, she tells Ceres to stop teasing her because it's not funny to joke when it comes to love. She says that nobody would want a grandmom like her who is twice their age. However, Ceres tells her that he's not joking around and is very serious about this. He even reminds Shizuko of the time he had first confessed his love to her when he was a kid. The slave mom finally realizes that Ceres is not messing around with her, and she also finds out that he has gotten taller than her. She tries to reason with our hero by saying he's a handsome young boy. The cute girls must be going crazy over him, and she even gives the example of Mel and the other girls from the hero party. Of course, Ceres reveals that Isekai'd has already engaged in shady activities with all of those girls, but he gets a rather hilarious response. Shizuko states that Mel and the others must have horrible taste in men to choose Isekai'd over Ceres. After all, our hero is much better than the womanizer playboy, and this leaves him speechless. It's not every day that he gets to see Isekai'd's own mom criticizing him, so it's good for him to soak in this moment. After all these discussions, Shizuko tells Ceres that if he insists so much on it, then she will accept his proposal. She adds that she will continue to do shady things with him until he finds a young girl that he likes. This is the best news Ceres could have ever heard because his dream has finally come true. He thanks Shizuko for accepting his proposal, but she says she is the one who is supposed to be grateful towards him. With that, the couple holds hands, and they both blush as they make their way to an inn. Our hero's life with curvy moms has begun, and he makes sure to seal the deal that very night itself. Now, we move to the next morning where we can see that Shizuko is fast asleep after a rather passionate night. Next to her is Ceres, who has been awake the entire night because he simply could not get over the excitement of doing it with a curvy mom. He also reveals to us that Shizuko cried herself to sleep because of all the trauma she had to face after being sold into slavery. Now, the slave mom wakes up and finds herself holding hands with Ceres. They wish each other good morning, but Ceres feels that he may have caught Shizuko off guard by holding on to her hand. She says it's all right because she knows that he was holding her hand to calm her down from crying. Shizuko calls Ceres a kind boy, and it makes him shy even though he is supposed to be her master now. It's time to figure out their plan of action. So Ceres says that they will have breakfast first, and then they will go to the guild. After all, it would make a lot more sense to have Shizuko registered as an adventurer to travel with our hero. The couple has breakfast now, and the slave mom is amazed to see such a nice meal in front of her. She has barely had the chance to eat out ever since she got married, so this is a very pleasant surprise. Ceres explains that since he is an adventurer, he only eats outside or in a camp, so they should eat their meal while it's hot. The slave mom has a bite and is completely taken away by how yummy it is. Ceres is glad to hear this, but if he's being honest, he would prefer Shizuko's home cooking any day. She is flattered by his words and says that she would happily cook for him as long as he gets the ingredients. Our hero takes a look at his slave mom and says that she is a skilled cook as well as great with household chores. On top of that, she is very open-minded and a total beast in the bedroom too. He does admit that Mel and the other two girls are beauties, but when you compare them to Shizuko, they are nothing more than children. Ceres can never get tired of being around his slave mom, and he genuinely believes that she is the best. The couple enjoys their breakfast while also flirting with each other, and then they head over to the guild for registration. Ceres is welcomed by the girl at the reception, and she even refers to him as Lord Ceres. He tells her that he wants to register an adventurer and also apply for a new party. This is a bit surprising to the reception girl, and she asks if Ceres wants to start his party with the woman next to him. She is referring to Shizuko, so our hero says yes. But the reception girl looks at the slave mom and asks if an old bag like her should be doing such things, and that too with Lord Ceres. Our hero panics because he knows that Shizuko will not take this lightly, and we can see it immediately in the ominous aura being emitted from her body. She tries to fight back her emotions and says that since she is a grandmom, the term old bag is suitable for her. Now, in a shocking twist, Shizuko says that if she is to go on adventures with her master, then it would not make sense for her to register as a new adventurer. She would much rather apply for the reinstatement of her status, which means that she used to be an adventurer before. Ceres wants to know more about this, so Shizuko reveals that she was an adventurer for sure, but she quit before she got married to Zector. As a matter of fact, neither her husband nor her son even know about her life before marriage. Both those men are full of ego, which was the main reason why Shizuko kept shut about it. The reception girl still does not seem to believe what the slave mom is saying, so she says that she will check the blood registry just in case of a possible scam. For that, they will need to extract some blood from Shizuko. But that is not needed when the reception girl's dad comes out to show himself. He says sorry for the way his daughter has treated Shizuko, and we learn that her name is Sally. The dad then asks the slave mom if she wants to return to work, and she says yes with a giggle. The dad's name is Buri, and Shizuko playfully teases him by saying she has been blessed with a good partner despite her age. She asks him if he does not think she should go back to her old job, but Buri says that Shizuko should not tease him this way. After all, he is the guild master now, so he needs to be treated with some respect. That's when Shizuko reveals that Buri's real name is actually Beldar. But the only thing on Ceres' mind is how absurd this whole story is turning out to be. Shizuko asks Buri if he can give her back her previous status and rank, to which he says of course. After all, he is not going to miss out on the chance to welcome back the black-haired healer. This is a rather unique nickname, so Ceres asks why his slave mom has such a unique status. That's when Buri reveals that Shizuko was a very famous adventurer back in the day. She was known as the master healer, who was leaps and bounds above the rest of the healers. Now, Shizuko drops the biggest reveal on her master by saying she actually used to be an S-rank adventurer. Our hero is stunned to hear this, because he would never have imagined in his wildest dreams that the curvy mom he just clapped last night also happened to be an S-class adventurer. He can understand that Shizuko is heavy on family matters and also a beast in bed. But the fact that she also has strong healing powers is a whole other flex. Of course, it also raises the question as to how she let herself become a slave so easily if she had such powers the whole time. Now, Buri states that since it's been a while from when Shizuko last completed a quest, he can't just give her back the S-tier ranking. He asks if she will be fine with the A-tier ranking, and she says yes to it. Buri gets all the basic work done, and then he has to tend to other matters, so he leaves the rest to Sally. The reception girl bows down to the slave mom and says sorry for speaking so rudely to her earlier, and Shizuko says that she doesn't mind as long as Sally is genuinely apologetic. She is about to show all the quests that are available right now, but Ceres seems to be stunned still. Sally asks him if anything is the matter, and he states that he is just trying to recover from all the shocks that he has just received. Now, the couple goes through some of the quests, and they eventually land their hands on one that seems a bit appealing. It is to do with slaying an earth dragon, and both of them are on board with it. Sally comments that earth dragons are the weakest out of all the dragons, but even then, this is not a quest that you would want to take on alone. This proves that Shizuko can indeed walk the talk of her being an S-rank adventurer. Our hero asks his slave mom if she would like to come for this quest, and she says there is no doubt about it at all. Ceres does not want to put his slave mom in a dangerous situation, but he has faith in her because he now knows that she has the skills to survive an earth dragon. He still tells her that the condition for her to tag along is to allow him to fight the beast all by himself. The best she can do is sit back and watch the fight. Shizuko agrees to this deal, and then she says that they should head to the inn and borrow the kitchen over there, so that she can cook a nice meal for her new master. As they head towards their destination, Ceres tells his slave mom that he still can't believe she is such an amazing adventurer. This is when she reveals that she was not the only one who had such impressive skills. She had actually formed a party with the moms of Mel, Lita, and Maria as well, thus confirming the names of the other two girls in Zek's party. Now, our hero thinks about how cute and curvy all these moms were as well, which means that Shizuko's party was pretty much a heavenly fantasy for him. The more important thing is that these moms were all nice and kind to him back when he was a child. Now, Shizuko reveals that even though their party was strong, they would still face issues because they were all women. Strange and shady men would approach the girls all the time, and it would lead them to beat these creeps one after the other. Simply thinking about these memories makes Shizuko very nostalgic, but then she also recalls that once the women of the party reached a certain age, then nobody even thought of approaching them anymore. Ceres also realizes that all the women got married at around the same time and chose to become simple village girls. Now, our hero asks Shizuko that if she had all this power, then she should have fought back when she was being sold off as a slave. After all, it would not make sense to suffer so much when you had the power to resist the slave traders. That's when Shizuko reveals that she had let her guard down, which allowed her shady husband to drug her from behind. She continues to smile as she talks about this, but also says that the time she meets Zector, she will make sure that his head will rot. It's a rather scary portrayal once again, and Ceres does not want to have any part in it. Now, the couple is about to reach their destination, so Ceres suggests sitting down and having lunch while they still can. The slave mom thinks it's a good idea, and then she proceeds to feed her master and lover boy some home-cooked food. As expected, Ceres is in La La Land as he takes the bite and enjoys being fed by a curvy mom. She asks him how he likes his food, and he says that it's amazing since it tastes just like home. Shizuko is glad that her master likes her cooking, but then he says that he's not a kid anymore, so she does not need to feed him like this. Shizuko blushes and stops as our hero finishes his meal like a big boy. Now that they are done with the meal, it's time to carry on towards their destination. There's something odd about the vibe of their surroundings, and then before you know it, Ceres finds himself up against a massive earth dragon. The beast looks very deadly as it lets out a huge roar, so our hero asks Shizuko to step back and watch from a safe zone. The dragon launches an attack, but Ceres is able to dodge it with ease. He comments on how slow the beast is, and then he unleashes his magical powers. He summons the power of wind as the earth dragon tries to land another blow, but Ceres is able to counter the beast with ease. A tense battle follows with each party trying their best to outwit the other. However, it's our hero who emerges victorious by the end of it, as he unleashes a deadly slash attack to finish off the earth dragon. He chops off its head and states that defeating the monster really wasn't much of a big deal. However, that's when Shizuko calls out to her master and warns him of another monster behind him. Ceres looks back and sees something coming out from the ground, and it happens to be some kind of upgraded earth dragon. It is covered in rocks that act as its armor, which means this is an opponent who will not be that easy to defeat. The dragon takes one look at our hero and gets enraged almost instantly. It unleashes its flame blast on Ceres, but he does not know how to counter it in such short time. Luckily for him, his slave mom has seen such beasts before, so she rushes to his aid and blocks the attack with a holy wall. Ceres is not happy about this because Shizuko did not listen to his orders, but she says sorry as she had no other choice but to keep her master safe. There are other things to worry about because this is most definitely not an earth dragon. It's the more powerful rock dragon, so Shizuko tells her lover boy that they must come up with a way to defeat it. She asks what he is going to do, but it seems to be a very simple solution for Ceres. He unleashes a freeze attack that counters the flames of the rock dragon and even manages to freeze the head of the beast. This allows our hero the time he needs to charge up for his attack and run at the rock dragon. He then jumps high up into the sky with his sword and launches a finisher move on the beast. He hits the precise spot on the rock dragon and is able to chop off its head from its body. With the danger averted and the beast defeated, Ceres can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Now, he opens up an interdimensional bag and decides to fit the heads of both the dragons into it, as he will need to show proof back at the guild. He and Shizuko go back to Sally and inform her that they ended up hunting 2 dragons, which means that a fresh assessment will have to be made. Ceres takes out both the dragon heads, but he spooks out Sally with them, and she says that such items should be taken to the warehouse, not the guild reception. Now, the couple goes to the warehouse, and they show the heads to Buri. He can see that the bigger head belongs to a rock dragon, so he asks our hero how he was able to hunt it down. Rather than hearing some grand plan, Buri only watches on nervously as Ceres talks about how he jumped at it and slashed its head off to claim victory. As a result of this quest, Ceres and Shizuko end up earning a lot of cash, and they are both glad about the bonus riches. However, our hero is still upset with his slave mom for not listening to his orders and staying back while he fought the dragons. She says that she got worried her master would end up getting hurt, which was why she jumped in to protect him right then and there. Ceres smiles at this and tells his slave mom that she needs to let go of the fact that he's a child. He is the one who will be protecting her against evil monsters, and she should know how much of a man he is since he's already clapped her in bed. This obviously makes the curvy mom excited, and the heartbeat inside her body only grows louder and louder with each passing second. Now, we move back to the main house where both Ceres and Shizuko are living as lovers. The slave mom goes about her job cleaning the house, but then it strikes her that since she and Ceres are lovers now, they should be doing unspeakable things to each other as often as they can. She can even say the words "I love you" to her master, now that they are a serious couple. Even so, her heart is pounding despite her age, probably because she has never felt this way about any man before. Shizuko tells herself not to get her hopes up so much because at the end of the day, it could be that Ceres had taken her in only because he was feeling lonely. As she looks out into the open sky and wonders what her real relationship is with our hero, we see Ceres, who has bought a gift for his slave mom. He hopes to make her happy with this present, and then he comes back home. Shizuko greets him and comments that he has returned a lot sooner than she was expecting. He says that the reason for him to come back so soon is because he wanted to see her again. Because of this, he made sure to rush through his work and get back together with his slave mom. His words make Shizuko blush, and she says that she is glad to see how much he desires her curvy mom figure. Our hero simply smiles as he looks at Shizuko, but in his head, he is celebrating the healing power of milks. In the middle of all this, we are told about Maria, who has the healing power of a priestess, although it is still up for debate as to what she actually considers to be healing. Now, Shizuko asks her master what's wrong because he's been staring at her for a while. He says that he was simply admiring her because she is a very beautiful woman. Of course, Shizuko is a bit embarrassed by this because she still considers herself to be an old woman. She is also not used to hearing such nice compliments. But Ceres tells her once again that she is not old at all. As a matter of fact, he considers her to be a young woman, which is true considering the fact that his mental age is above 42. Hearing yet another compliment is too much for the slave mom, and she says that her master has made her ecstatic with all this romantic talk. Now, Ceres says that he finds Shizuko to be a beautiful young woman who has no comparison in this world, so he would really like it if she stopped referring to herself as an old woman. She says she will try to do so from now on. But at the end of the day, Ceres can't really blame her for it. After all, she still must be seeing him as Zek's childhood friend from all those years ago. Now that the moment is right, our hero decides to hand over the gift he got for his slave mom. It's a massive bouquet of flowers, and Shizuko is shocked to see such a sweet gesture from her master and lover boy. She can't believe that he has done this just for her, and she says thanks with all her heart. Ceres says that he has also gotten some cake for Shizuko, so they should have a slice. But she says that they should save the cake for after the actual meal. If they eat the dessert right now, then it will spoil our hero's appetite, and he won't end up having a proper dinner. It turns out that Ceres has one more thing that he would like to give his slave mom, but he decides to save it for later. Shizuko asks him why he is making such a weird face, and it makes him remember how she used to say the same thing to Zek and him back when they were kids. Now, the couple heads out for a walk, and they enjoy the nice little breeze that is coming their way. Shizuko thanks Ceres for all that he's done today because no one has ever been so kind and sweet to her. She then asks him why he went through so much trouble to do all of this today. It isn't even a holiday, so there has to be some reason for our hero to become so romantic. That's when he brings out the gift that we had seen earlier, and he tells Shizuko to take a look at it. The slave mom opens the gift and is shocked to find that it is an extremely lavish necklace. However, at the same time, she feels like she can't accept this because she didn't even have a ring from her previous marriage. She tries to deny the gift, but our hero is not having any of it. Shizuko reminds him that this is the kind of ring people give to younger girls, and he says he is well aware of this. Despite all the gestures, Shizuko worries that if she accepts this gift right now, then Ceres will end up regretting it later in his life. However, before she can present another argument, Ceres tells her that he loves her with all his heart. The curvy mom can't help blushing, and she tries to resist Ceres once again by saying she is no good. However, he does not care what society has to say in this world, because he only wants her and no one else. Ceres goes on a romantic rant as he talks about how he wants to be the closest to Shizuko when she is smiling, and wants it to be this way from now on until eternity. The curvy mom is getting a bit too emotional as tears fill up inside her eyes. So she asks our hero if this is really what he wants. She is basically worried that he will regret this later in his life. But he says that such a thing could never happen. He has loved her right from when he first laid eyes on her. And even though that may sound very romantic, it's still a bit weird because he was just a child when he did fall for Shizuko. Having said that, our hero has now fully won over Shizuko, and she says that she will give this a chance now that she is sure of his intentions. Now, Ceres makes sure to put the necklace around his new lover girl's neck. Shizuko is bursting with joy, and she asks him if the necklace looks good on her. Obviously, he says that it looks great and complements her beauty perfectly. Now, we move back to the house where Shizuko is seen taking a bath. She knows that there's no running away from her relationship with Ceres now, but she still can't believe that he was serious enough to get her such a fancy necklace. It once again boils down to the fact that she has never been treated this way before, especially because her ex-husband never bothered to get her even a single thing for the sake of her happiness. Shizuko thinks back to the times when Ceres would tell her things such as "I love you" and "I want to marry you." However, all of this was back when he was just a little boy, so she did not think much of it back then. There was no way for her to know that our hero was actually being serious all the way back then. The curvy mom even thought that this was a way for Ceres to deal with the loss of his own mother. After all, such incidents can make a boy very lonely. But as it turns out, this was not the case either. Shizuko even remembers Ceres getting along with the other moms and saying similar things to them as well. But his feelings for her were real all along, and she did not pay it much heed. Now, she knows how it all began, and she is ready to take things to the next level. The curvy mom knows it's clapping time tonight, but she is a bit nervous because she does not know how she will do after so long. She also feels like she has put on some weight due to her age, even though she has the body of a human goddess. Shizuko is also not sure of mingling her whole body with such a young man, because such acts are not considered to be normal in this world. Anyway, she will just have to put her faith in her lover boy and see how things go from there. The curvy mom now thinks about herself from 10 years ago, and she was really cute then, but is also very cute and curvy now. Of course, Ceres was only 4 or 5 years old back then, so she should not focus on such things. It would not be nice to make our hero wait any longer, so she decides to get out of the shower and go for it. Now, Shizuko steps into the master bedroom, where Ceres is eagerly waiting for her. She apologizes for making him wait, and says that she is done with her shower now, so he can go ahead. Our hero is nervous as well, but he knows even he needs to shower before getting down and dirty, so he steps into the bathroom. While he gets ready, Shizuko sits on the bed and reminds herself once again that this will be the most important night of her life. An extremely passionate night awaits the couple indeed. We see the curvy mom in bed, wearing nothing but a towel as she waits for Ceres to come to her side. Soon enough, he also shows up and apologizes for making her wait. But Shizuko gets panicked when her time arrives. Her heart beats nervously, and then she even prays to Ceres' mom's soul, apologizing to her for what she is about to do. As they prepare for an intense night with each other, Shizuko tells our hero that it's been a while since she has done this properly, so she would like him to be gentle with her. Of course, she feels that it is also his first time getting this serious, so she asks him if he needs any guidance. However, he shows himself to be quite the expert as an extremely passionate session follows. Despite exploding together, our hero wants to go one more time, which totally takes Shizuko by surprise. It's so good for the curvy mom that she believes she can't live without Ceres anymore. After all, he has shown her so many things tonight that she never even believed she could experience. After going hammer and tongs the whole night, we move to the morning where we see Shizuko lying in bed. As she tries to figure out what happened the previous night, she finds herself with Ceres right next to her. He wishes a good morning, but Shizuko asks him if she fell asleep after passing out from all the exercise last night. He believes so, and then she asks how it was for him to get with her. Our hero simply says that the curvy mom was so cute while sleeping that he couldn't take his eyes off her. This obviously makes her a bit conscious, so she says that they both should get ready as it's already noontime. However, he holds her hand and asks if she would like to act on her intrusive thoughts again. After yet another unforgettable session, Shizuko tells our hero that she was amazed to see how much he wanted to please her as a woman. She gets dressed and comments on how he has completely drained her, so he says sorry for letting out the beast. Of course, she does not have a problem with this at all, but it leads Ceres to wonder if he has always been such an excited man. He then tells the curvy mom to rest for a bit, after which the both of them go to get some breakfast. We see that our hero has made some yummy omelets and even drawn hearts on them. So Shizuko states that he really knows how to please her. They decide to eat before the food gets cold, and then they discuss what they should do next. Shizuko says that Ceres can count on her support at all times, and he can do whatever he pleases. Of course, hearing such things only makes his intrusive thoughts erupt, but he has to be focused, especially after going 3 rounds with the curvy mom. Now, we learn that there are only 30 people in the world who have the S rank. Since Shizuko is already an S rank adventurer, he could easily live a quiet life with her as his wife. However, he is also aware that he could land up into trouble for this with Isekai'd and his dad for obvious reasons. Shizuko states that if he is having a hard time figuring out what to do, then she would like to propose paying a visit to their village. After all, she would definitely like to inflict some punishment upon her shameless ex-husband. She smiles a lot as she says this, but our hero knows better than to allow a scorned woman to unleash hell upon the man who wronged her. He leaves that topic aside and says that he was actually thinking of going to the Jamuna village and living there quietly. Shizuko is fine with this and says that she would also like to meet the other curvy moms Haruka, Seo, and Misaki. Of course, even Ceres would love to do that, as he has his own shady intentions in mind for them. He wonders if these moms are still the same as they were when he last saw them, and Shizuko says that they most definitely are. Haruka is busy helping her husband Kazuma, who is only interested in cooking for his restaurant. Seo continues to be a household slave for her oppressive farmer husband Kaido, but she considers this to be her job. Then there's Misaki, who is quietly working in the household and general store of her selfish husband Shuto. From the looks of it, all these curvy moms need a hero to rescue them from their boring marriages, and Ceres looks like the right man for the job. Shizuko talks about how the love these moms once shared with their husbands has instantly deteriorated, so it makes Ceres wonder if he can actually achieve his ultimate fantasy now. Either way, he is excited to meet the moms again, even if he does not know what he is going to do when he reaches the village. Anyway, he'll see if he can come up with something new once he is actually there. On this note, his intrusive thoughts come to the fore once again, and he asks Shizuko if they can engage in unspeakable acts again tonight. She is amazed by the stamina and vitality of his youth, but it's not like she's going to say no to him either. Now, we shift to Isekai'd and his girls as they realize that they have run out of money. This is a bit of a shocker to them, and Maria even suspects that Ceres may have run away with it. However, the girls realize that our hero would never do such a thing, and they will just have to deal with being broke. The group goes to the guild to figure out what's wrong, and that's when they learn the church has not paid them yet. Isekai'd figures he'll go and sort this out, but when he reaches the church, he is told that his team did not receive any money because they did not submit any reports or paperwork. Isekai'd does not understand any of this, so the church man tells him that if he is to get paid, then he needs to submit detailed reports of his expenses as well as achievements. Isekai'd does not remember submitting any such reports in the past, and even the girls are clueless about this. The church man reveals that the paperwork he received in the past did have Isekai'd's signatures, but the one filling them out was none other than our hero Ceres. This shocks the playboy as he realizes that Ceres would often come to him with papers for his signatures. Now he knows what all of them were for. He asks the church man if these documents are necessary. The church man says that there is one other alternative, but that is the minimum monthly allowance. It's a lot less than what the team would get before, but they have no other choice since they don't have any papers. Now, Isekai'd turns to Mel and asks her if she would take over from Ceres regarding the reports. She wants to know why she has been chosen for this task, so everyone tells her that she is the smartest among them all. She is a sage after all, so a lot of papers are dumped right in front of her. Lita tells her that such a task should not be that tough. But Mel is upset, so she says that it is indeed difficult. She can't do this as well as the other chores. But Isekai'd argues that Ceres could handle both responsibilities with ease. Of course, Mel is nowhere close to our hero, so she tells Isekai'd to have Lita or Maria handle the paperwork if he's so confident about it. The playboy panics and calms her down by saying she will need to work only on the reports for now. Later in their tent, we see Isekai'd eating some stew, but it looks like something that has come straight out of the trash can. He complains about it and asks Lita why she couldn't make anything better than this. Lita is not pleased to hear this, so she tells Isekai'd that he can have Maria cook the food if he is not too happy with her. Maria instantly says that Lita is a better chef, and Isekai'd agrees instantly because Maria tends to burn anything she cooks. The girls all remember Ceres and his yummy food, such as omelette with rice, hamburgers, and Neapolitan pasta. Isekai'd knows that such food will be available in the city, but only at the fancy restaurants which they can't afford now. However, desperate times call for desperate measures, so Isekai'd says that everyone will be eating out tomorrow. This sounds nice for people who actually have money, but a few days later, we see the whole team looking famished and unkempt. Isekai'd laments that he and the girls can't keep going like this. They are losing money and getting dirtier by the day, so something needs to be done about the situation. Isekai'd takes a look at Lita and notices that her hair looks a lot better than Maria's or Mel's. He asks her how she is able to do this, but she states that she simply ties her hair from behind. Also, Ceres used to take care of Mel's and Maria's hair since they had no idea how to manage it themselves. Isekai'd gets annoyed because our hero has been mentioned yet again, proving how useful he actually was to this team. In a moment of frustration, Isekai'd says that he and the girls should go to the church and have them take care of them. However, Maria is completely against this idea because the church members lead a very frugal life. They rarely ever eat meat, and everyone has to take care of themselves anyway. So the team is better off as it is right now. Isekai'd eventually agrees that they won't go to the church, and then he is asked why the team doesn't just go to the guild to earn money from adventures. Isekai'd says that will not be possible because they take money from the church and the country. Due to this, they are not allowed to go out and hunt monsters, and it leads Isekai'd to wonder how Ceres was able to do everything that he and the girls aren't. He laments his current situation, but there's not much that he can do about it. Now, we move to our hero and his lover mom Shizuko, who looks super cheerful right now. Ceres tells her that they will get some money after their meal, and then they will leave the city. Shizuko is completely fine with that, but Ceres doesn't understand why she is so cheerful. The curvy mom says that it's because she has him by her side, and then we see how our hero takes care of Shizuko. It turns out that he shampoos her hair every morning with a hair cleansing potion. He then combs the hair as he dries it out, almost as if he is a professional salon person. In this world, there is no husband who would do such a thing for his wife. But even then, Isekai'd and the girls ended up throwing Ceres out of their group. Shizuko does not like to make fun of other people's kids, but maintains that if Haruka were to see Lita like this, then she would have definitely slapped her. Even she herself would like to give Isekai'd a good thrashing for being ungrateful, and Ceres agrees that he wouldn't mind doing the same thing. Shizuko compares her current life to her past life by saying Ceres and her take turns while making meals. But when she was with Isekai'd and Isekai'd, they would keep harassing her to make food, even when she was down with an illness. Our hero, on the other hand, says sweet things like he wants to see Shizuko smile, and he wants to cook for her. Such a drastic change makes the curvy mom so happy that she wishes to dance around randomly because of her comfy life now. There's also the fact that she and Ceres engage in the most unspeakable acts known to mankind day and night. So life is full of pleasure now. Shizuko even goes as far as to say that if she had to choose between Isekai'd and Ceres, she would easily choose Ceres without even having to think twice about it. She is his lover mom after all, so it's a no-brainer. Now, we move to the forest where Ceres has taken down multiple monsters at the same time. Shizuko is amazed to see how strong our hero is, but he says that it's easy for him because he's used to hunting down monsters by himself to survive. This is a bit surprising to Shizuko because Ceres used to be a part of the hero party, so there was no need for him to hunt for his earnings. However, he explains that since he is a magic warrior, he did not get aid from the party and had to pay for his own expenses. The curvy mom can't believe this because Ceres was not only helping Isekai'd and the girls defeat the Demon King, he was also doing requests on the side to pay for himself. Our hero says he didn't have any choice, and then Shizuko realizes that he must have been doing chores as well. Realizing that her lover boy has had such a tough life, the curvy mom brings his face close to her soft pillows in order to soothe his mind. Shizuko then asks Ceres what's the strongest monster he's hunted, and he says he's gone up to the dragon class. This includes wyverns, earth dragons, rock dragons, and even water dragons. Shizuko asks Ceres that if he's able to hunt down such beasts, then he might actually be as strong as Isekai'd if not stronger. Our hero is not too sure because he would never take part in the big battles. If he added to Isekai'd and the girls during these fights, then it could have caused a lot of issues for them. So he decided to stay in the sidelines and handle the small fry. Shizuko now realizes that while the four chosen ones get great powers, she had also heard of a hero so strong that even dragons would not be able to lay a hand on him. In her opinion, Isekai'd and this hero should not be so different, and it looks like she's referring to Ceres, who is still lost inside her soft pillows. She is saying this because our hero seems to be stronger than S-class heroes. However, it does not matter how strong you are. You can still suffocate inside soft pillows. So Ceres asks Shizuko to let him breathe for a bit. He then suggests going to the guild to give their report. So the curvy mom does as he says. The couple meets Sally, who gives them their reward. But then she also tells Ceres something important. It seems that he is still registered to the hero party. But this does not make sense as he had already left the group and made a new party with his lover mom. Sally admits that this was a mistake on her part, and she apologizes for it. Basically, she made a separate force for Isekai'd's party, but since the guild treats each group independently, this should not be a problem for Ceres and Shizuko. Ceres asks what will happen to his lover mom because he did not tell her son Isekai'd about this. Sally explains that these things won't be an issue because Ceres is the leader of the separate group. Shizuko is simply a member of the separate group, and that's it. Ceres asks if he can still use the hero party's privileges, and Sally says yes as long as he and Shizuko remain members of the party. The curvy mom wants to know if she is also a part of the hero's party now, but Sally says that technically, she is the subordinate of Ceres in the hero party's separate group. Also, Ceres has been granted a new title called Dragon Slayer, so he can call himself that from now on. Shizuko congratulates him on this, and then she asks Sally if any other hero has ever hunted a dragon. She reveals that Zect and Lita were able to slay demi-dragons and wyverns. But these are not proper dragons, so they don't get the same title as Ceres. This means that our hero is indeed the only one who was able to achieve something so great, and it makes Shizuko excited. She states that even Zect could not slay a proper dragon, which makes her lover boy more admirable. Sally tells Shizuko that she should not be talking about Zect so casually since he is the chosen hero of this world. That's when Ceres reveals to her that Shizuko is Zect's mom. This is a shocker to Sally, and she slams her head onto the table while trying to apologize for misspeaking. The curvy mom does not mind this, and she reveals that she is simply our hero's lover girl now, which further shocks Sally to her core. She takes a look at the registry and tells Shizuko that she is simply listed as a slave girl. But then she blushes and says that she is a love slave to Ceres. This is a rather shady thing to say. So Sally looks at our hero and asks him exactly what's going on over here. Of course, Ceres does not want any misunderstanding. So he explains to Sally how he ran into Shizuko and what led him to buy her as his slave mom. Sally can't believe what she has heard, and she lashes out at Zector for abandoning his wife like this. She calls him the enemy of all women, but also finally understands our hero's mommy desires. In this case, she has a proposal for the lovebirds, which is to have a guild marriage. Ceres is not too sure of what this means, but Shizuko does, and she blushes because she is much older than our hero. Ceres wants to know how a guild marriage works, so Sally explains that it's simply a registered marriage through the guild. This would make it easy to contact Ceres if there are any issues, and the guild will also be able to keep a track of his accounts as well as Shizuko's. This is not very different from family registries in our hero's original world of Japan, and he would definitely like to make things official. He asks Shizuko if she would be interested in doing the guild marriage because he would surely love to. The curvy mom asks him if he is absolutely certain of this since she has a lot of years on him, and there's no walking away from such a marriage. As expected, Ceres is fine with it because he was the one who fell for her first. With that said and done, our hero and his lover mom officially tie the knot and get married. Shizuko has gone from a slave mom to a wife mom now, and Ceres is happy about it. Although he does feel that Sally may have hustled him for some money by making him pay for the registry as well as the rings. Everyone celebrates their union and wish the best upon Ceres and Shizuko as they walk down the aisle as husband and wife. It's a very happy moment for the both of them. And then Ceres buys drinks for everyone on the house. This leads to even further celebrations as Sally starts handing out the drinks to everyone at the bar. Shizuko couldn't be happier about this because she has finally found the perfect husband, who at one point was pretty much like her stepson. Then she reveals that she had kept a promise with the other curvy moms back in the village. This was basically to share all their sorrows and all their blisses together with each other. This means that Ceres will probably have to take in a total of 4 mom wives. But that will not be a problem for him since he is a mommy lover. Now, Shizuko and Ceres reach the village of Jamuna, and it brings back some fond memories for our hero, as he was born here. The people of this village raised him after he lost his parents, so he is looking forward to his time here. His mom wife, on the other hand, is not too thrilled, and he was expecting this because Zector lives here as well. He is the same man who sold off Shizuko in the first place, so it's normal for her to feel a bit sad. Ceres goes to meet the chief, who is a bit surprised to see him. He was under the impression that our hero was out on a mission with Zect and the others. Now, Shizuko comes in as well, and this shocks the chief even further. This is because Zector had told everyone at the village that she had passed away. As expected, Shizuko has a frown on her face, and Ceres does not like seeing this, so he asks her if she would like him to have a word with her past husband. Shizuko says she can handle it, and then the couple explains everything to the chief. He realizes how traumatic it must have been for the curvy mom, and he calls Zector a lowlife for doing what he did to her. He would have chopped off his arm and thrown him out of the village as well. But it looks like Zector is not here anymore. We learn that he did not pay his taxes, and it led to the feudal lord taking him away. Shizuko pauses for a second, but then she activates demon mode and starts laughing over what has happened to Zector. The chief asks her to get it together, and then the curvy mom admits that she lost her composure for a bit. She wanted to at least get one hit at Zector, but it looks like he is a much worse place now. Ceres also knows that his mom-wife is speaking the truth, because even if Zector were to complete his time paying off his taxes while working as a slave, he will not have any face left to show in the village. After all, he did spend all of his son's money on curvy babes and booze without sharing it with anyone in the village. It really is a live example of you reap what you sow. Our hero states that he will never forgive Zector for selling off his dear Shizuko, but he also admits that he has a few good memories with him since he would take him and Zect out fishing during their childhood. Either way, it looks like things have turned out conveniently because revenge would not have been the best way to end this. Now, the chief comments on how happy Shizuko is looking due to the fact that she has gotten herself such a young husband. She admits that it's almost scary to see how happy she has become. And then the chief also commends Ceres for actually following through on the promise he made to the curvy mom back when he was a child. He even states that our hero is a very brave man for being able to live up to such a promise. Now, Ceres decides to buy himself a favor, so he gives the chief some coins to keep him happy. The bald chief then tells our hero that he should go get some rest with Shizuko. However, since the both of them just recently got married, he believes that the couple may want to tire themselves out even more. Ceres figures that the chief has given in to his own intrusive thoughts, so he should just try to get out of here with his wife mom. The couple reaches their home and are relieved to finally have some private time with each other. Shizuko is very happy to have gotten rid of Zector now, and she does not want to live with any kind of resentment. After all, she has finally found herself a nice husband after a long time. Our hero tells her that he was the one who caught her after all this time, so he deserves some credit as well. He then says that they can take it easy for today, but Shizuko asks him if he really wants to take it easy or actually get more exercise, just like the chief was saying earlier. Everyone's intrusive thoughts seem to be going wild and out of control, so Ceres suggests getting freaky right now. Shizuko is a bit taken aback by his eagerness, but they get down to business anyway.
After our hero suggests acting out his intrusive thoughts with his new wife mom, he and Shizuko don't waste any time in partaking at all. This goes on for quite a while, and then we move to later the next day as Ceres wishes Shizuko a good morning and then tells her that the both of them didn't take a break for even a second yesterday. Our hero is reminded that it's not morning but rather afternoon, so it makes him feel embarrassed. Ceres tells Shizuko that it's bad for him to be so excited all the time, but she tells him it's not an issue for her at all. As a matter of fact, she is glad to see someone desiring to do such things to a woman of her age. Everyone must be busy right now, so Ceres doesn't want to disturb them, but then he comes up with the idea to visit Kazuma. Shizuko has no issue with that, as this will also lead them to meet Haruka. Now, we learn that Kazuma is the only set meal restaurant in the area, and it is named after its owner. Kazuma also happens to be Lita's dad, and his wife is the very cute Haruka. Ceres tells us that Kazuma was the one who helped him recreate some of the dishes from his own world over here. He even considers Kazuma to be more of a brother to him, even though they are not related by blood. On that note, he considers Haruka to be like a sister to him as well, although we'll find out later that our hero actually meant to say stepsister. Now, Ceres and Shizuko reach the restaurant and meet Haruka. Our hero is a bit nervous to see her, but Haruka greets the both of them happily. She also tells Shizuko that the chief informed her about what had happened to her. The slave mom says it was fine because Ceres came to her rescue, and this impresses Haruka. She smacks our hero out of affection, but he tells her she's being too rough on him. He is not able to understand why she likes to playfully hit him so much, but then Shizuko diffuses the situation by saying she's a bit jealous of these two, although she is already married to Ceres. Haruka asks Shizuko if she actually went through with the marriage, and this causes the wife mom to blush. She admits to being the happiest woman in the world, but maintains that she is not a female Drake. Haruka agrees and says that Ceres has always been in love with her right from when he was a little baby. Now, Shizuko wants to tell Haruka that our hero also has intrusive thoughts for her. But before the ladies can discuss this, Kazuma shows up and announces that his pasta is ready. He is glad to see both Shizuko and Ceres, after which our hero also greets him as his brother. Ceres calls back to the time Kazuma took him in and acted like his father as well as his brother. This led him to calling Haruka his sister, but we all know his true intentions at this point. Ceres even admits to us that he was in love with Haruka for some time, especially because of her style and her looks, but he buried those feelings deep in his heart out of respect for Kazuma. As Ceres thinks about Kazuma and Haruka being a match made in heaven, Shizuko asks him if he likes Haruka. Of course, Ceres tries to deflect the question by saying he likes Haruka as a sister, but then Shizuko says that she knows what kind of man he is. She knows he wants his elephant to enter her kitty cat, so Ceres briefly acknowledges his shady thoughts back when he was a child. He obviously wants to maintain his love for his wife mom, so he tells her that he loved her the most and Haruka the second most. Shizuko says that if she looked at it from an outsider's perspective, then it wouldn't be too bad for Ceres to get with Haruka. This leads Ceres to praise Haruka for looking much younger than her actual age. In this world, it's not rare to have children by the age of 15, which means it's basically the diddler's paradise. Having said that, Haruka looks like she's in her early 20s, although she might have actually crossed the age of 30 by now. Ceres doesn't mind older women looking young, because that's basically the dream for boys like him. He says all of this out loud, so Shizuko admits to Haruka looking very young, but it is obvious that she is feeling a bit insecure of her own age now. Our hero calms her down by saying even she looks quite young for her age, and most importantly, it's not just the looks that have drawn him towards Shizuko and Haruka. Even so, the wife mom tells her hubby boy that he should make a move on Haruka if he likes her so much. However, Ceres is a bit hesitant because he does not feel like he can make Haruka happy the same way as with Shizuko. After all, his wife mom needed someone to help her out of a tough spot, but Haruka looks like she is already happy with Kazuma. They have a family together, and things look quite well from the outside, so there is no need for Ceres to become a home wrecker. As expected, he does want Haruka because of how nice and sweet she was to him while he was growing up, but he abandoned all his intrusive thoughts for her out of respect for Kazuma. Shizuko tells Ceres that this may have been the case back when he was a child, but things might be different right now. She feels that he should still have a go at Haruka, but Ceres maintains that he does not want to ruin what looks like a perfectly good marriage. On the other hand, Shizuko tells Ceres that this is actually the best chance for him to shoot his shot. As a matter of fact, things may even end on a friendly note between husband and wife if Ceres were to enter the scene. Our hero is still not keen on doing such things, but then Shizuko tells him that he should just pay Haruka a night visit. Shizuko maintains that she'll feel lonely for a night, but she'll still be able to manage. Ceres panics because he knows what a night visit is and what it may entail. Shizuko states that night visits are a tradition of this village, and they are not as shady as our hero may think it to be. Of course, it does involve acting out your intrusive thoughts, but Shizuko states that as long as you follow its rules, you're fine. Ceres is shocked to learn that such acts can have rules as well, but his wife mom tells him to relax. Our hero still feels bad for Kazuma because he is the husband of Haruka. But Shizuko feels there won't be any issues as such. As long as our hero follows the rules, he will be in the safe zone. Now, it's time to learn about these night visit rules, so Shizuko walks us through them. The first and most important rule is that the woman in question should be older than 24 or at least be widowed. The second rule is that the man should approach the woman while she is asleep, and he should sit by her right side on his knees till she wakes up. The third rule is that the man should not speak to the woman unless she speaks to him first. The fourth rule is that the man must not shame the woman if she has accepted his advances. And the fifth rule is that he should not curse her if she rejects him. The sixth and final rule is that if the woman has rejected the man, then he should just give up and leave. Series thinks that these are so easy that they should not even be considered as rules. But Shizuko tells him that he has to follow them strictly, otherwise he will get into big trouble. He is also scared of making Haruka mad, to which his wife mom says that it is very much a possibility. At the same time, she hopes that this night visit will make Haruka happy as well. Our hero has no idea what she is talking about, but then Shizuko tells him that she will not be coming home tonight, so he should make his preparations accordingly. It's night time now, which means it's time for action. Series still can't believe what he is about to do to another woman, and that too with the support of his wife mom. He wonders if it's okay for him to be this shady, especially since he has only just married Shizuko. However, if she has insisted so much on it, then there is a great chance that the night visit will work. Series sneakily makes his way to Haruka's room while continuously thinking about Shizuko's angle. But if it means he gets to have two curvy moms by his side, then he will not resist the temptation. He enters the room and sees the cute Haruka fast asleep, so he sits by her right side and on his knees. He had thought that Kazuma would also be in the same room, but that isn't the case. Anyway, the night visit has officially begun, so Series has to wait patiently till Haruka wakes up. It takes a lot more effort to do this because he is checking out her curvy body while not being able to do anything. Suddenly, as his legs start to go numb, Series notices that Haruka has woken up and is looking at him with a lot of confusion. At first, she asks our hero what he is doing here, but it doesn't take long for her to figure out what's really going on. Haruka takes a look at Series once again, and asks him if he knows what it means to be sitting on her right side. Of course, our hero can't stop blushing and he tries to explain his actions to Haruka, but then he gets slapped harder than he has ever spanked Shizuko. Haruka is upset, and she calls Series a fool because she thinks he is trying to play the fool with her. Such jokes are very bad, and in Haruka's opinion, they deserve a kick to the face, which is exactly what she does to Series over here. Our hero asks her to calm down, but she maintains that she is calm, thus proving that no woman is ever calm. Haruka demands an explanation for this behavior, so Series slowly blurts out that he likes his big sis. He gets yet another slap, and then Haruka asks him if he means it as siblings. She doesn't like getting hurt by tasteless jokes, and it shows in her face. Series feels bad about what's going on, so he decides to confess the truth to Haruka, but at that very moment, Kazuma enters the room to check on his wife. He is surprised to see Series over here, and our hero believes that he will soon be breathing his last. This leads to a round table conference, but without the round table and the chairs. Series has to come up with something now, but he is told to speak carefully, otherwise it may harm his relationship with Haruka as well as Kazuma. It's now or never for Series, so he finally confesses that he actually likes his big sis. However, after seeing her with Kazuma, he decided to give up on that dream. Haruka wants to say something, but then Kazuma cuts her off because the men are speaking right now. Both Haruka and Ceres are a bit surprised to hear this, but Kazuma becomes a wingman and tells our hero that he should not give up on the woman he likes. There's a lot going on inside his head, so Ceres tries to understand what Kazuma is trying to say. He replies by telling Ceres that he should just be open and clear with him. He wants an honest answer, so our hero tells him that he did not go after Haruka because she seemed to be very happy by his side. As a matter of fact, whenever he did look at the both of them, he could only see smiles, which made him jealous of the couple. Kazuma now understands Ceres and his feelings, so he tells him that he also wishes for our hero to get with his wife. However, he asks Ceres if he is fine with Haruka despite the fact that she is Lita's mom and is pretty much the same age as his late mother Maruna. Kazuma looks extremely serious right now, which is why Haruka is not able to understand her husband's passion. She asks Kazuma why he is being this way, but by then, Ceres reveals that age has got nothing to do with love. He does not wish to give up on loving Haruka either, although he might be confusing love for another word. Haruka also starts blushing now, so Ceres shoots his shot by saying he will offer his love to her if she accepts him. He still says that he does not want to make Kazuma sad, but instead, it looks like Kazuma is the one who wants this to happen the most. He tells Ceres not to think about him and only focus on how he feels about his wife. It is at this very moment that Ceres shouts out his love for Haruka. This stuns her for sure, but then Kazuma dulls the situation by telling our hero that his wife will only pile on years from now on. Sure, she may look young right now, but there's no telling what might happen a few years down the line. This is not putting Haruka in a good light, but Kazuma maintains this statement because he wants to know if Ceres can still take care of her after she stops looking young. The men get into a passionate shouting session, and Ceres once again proclaims that he will love Haruka right till her final breath. Now that Kazuma has all that he needs, he asks his wife what she feels about the whole thing. This only makes her more nervous, and she eventually asks Ceres why he chose her out of everyone. She had even changed his diapers back when he was a baby, but it looks like this is some kind of alternative grooming. Haruka calls back to all the times Ceres told her he liked her, but this was only when he was a child, so she did not take it seriously. Kazuma once again tells our hero that when he reaches the age of 30, which is Kazuma's current age, Haruka would be in her 40s, which is not the most youthful age even on Earth. Kazuma adds that his wife will start looking like an old hag by that point, but the person reacting to this the most is Haruka, and that too with anger. There seems to be a reason for all this madness, and it happens to be Kazuma checking Ceres' true loyalty. Our hero proudly says that he will still love Haruka despite any age issues she might face later in the future. This is enough for Kazuma to hand over his wife to Ceres without any hesitation. He pushes Haruka onto Ceres, which would be shocking for anyone normal. What's even weirder is that he asks Ceres to prove his love for Haruka by showing it to him right now. This takes our hero back by surprise, because he is not too sure what Kazuma means by such a statement. Haruka is immediately dumbfounded, but before she can counter her husband, Ceres decides to show off his passion to his big brother by taking his wife in front of his eyes. The men even shake hands as Kazuma tells Ceres he wants to see it, so it could be inferred that Kazuma has some peculiar tastes when it comes to his own intrusive thoughts. Haruka can't believe what she is about to do with Ceres, that too in front of her husband, but a promise made between real men is never broken. It's time to begin the proceedings, and Kazuma is watching on with a lot of intent. Haruka asks Ceres if he is serious about this, but he doesn't waste any time and immediately picks her up. He then places Haruka on the bed, after which he tells us that he does love Shizuko the most, but at this moment, he has his eyes on the prize. Haruka is blushing crazily as she asks to be let go, but Ceres points out how red her face is. She scolds him for being so bold, but then our hero decides to show his stepsister what he's really made of. The two of them proceed towards shady activities in front of Kazuma, and Ceres tells Haruka that she is incredibly beautiful. What follows is an extremely passionate session, after which Haruka asks Ceres if he loves her. Our hero fools around for a bit, but admits his love after another slap. Haruka confesses her love for him as well, and it's a cute but weird moment, considering Kazuma is right there, looking at them both. Has our hero conquered someone else's wife in front of him? Will he want to enjoy such times with both Shizuko and Haruka now? And what about the other moms who are still out there, hoping for someone to violate them? Like, share, and subscribe if you like this video and want to see more of the story unfold. If this video gets some love, then I'll upload part 4 as well. See you until next time then.